All right, today I'm just gonna make a real quick video on how to use these dog-proof coon traps to, really maximize what they're meant for. Obviously, they're meant for so you don't catch your dog. They're dog-proof, and it works really good for other animals too. Obviously, you're not gonna catch a coyote or anything in here. Fox, you won't catch in here, but you will catch the occasional skunk and possum. Now, one way to minimize that is just use one-way systems. If you're using the two-way push-pull systems for the triggers, you're going to get more skunks and possums. You will get skunks and possums in these one-way triggers, but it won't be as much. But anyway, before we start here, this is just a regular Duke dog proof. There's all sorts of dog proofs out there. They all work for the most part, and I don't know if one works better than the other. It's mostly trap or air there, so I just go with the cheapest ones because they catch coons. One thing I like to do is on the trigger inside, I put a piece of 3/8 inch rubber. I think it's 3/8 or either a 1/4 inch rubber hose line, or rubber hose. I use like gas line. You get that at the auto parts store or whatever. So that's just the main thing to get before I even get started. So now we got that out of the way. It's really easy to set these. Grab it, put the spring away from you, and use both your hands to push it in. And then take one finger and just grab the dog here. And then just with your other hand, you just gotta pull the lever down and get it hooked in there. So now it's set. Real easy to do. If you can't get it, if you're younger, if you don't have very strong hands, you can buy setters for these, but there's no real need to. You can take a screwdriver, you stick it in behind the pin here that holds the trigger on, stick it in there and just pry it back with a screwdriver. So when these first came out, I was about I don't know, 10, I think, the first time I got one of these, somewhere around there, and I wasn't able to set these. Obviously when they had brand new springs too, they're a little stronger, so I wasn't able to set them in my hands. Take a screwdriver, pry it back. So no shame in doing that. So we got it set. Next, you can see a pretty defined trail here that the coon have just run down. And yeah, so the coyotes, there's a river right behind me. The coyotes are running the ridge a lot, so there are coyotes on this trail every once in a while, but I put coyote traps along the river closer and put the coon trail here because this is a very good spot for coon. So now just stick it in the ground. There's no need to bury it, or try to cover up this trap. The coon are gonna have no problem with that. I like to always set it with the trigger crossways to the trail, because when their hands work that way anyways, then they're not turning, which it's no big deal. Well, that's just something I like to do. Then don't forget to stake it, obviously. So I'll stake right beside it somewhere. Use whichever staking method you prefer. I prefer T-handle stakes for pretty much all of my traps, even canine traps, because they're easy to pull out. For me, I mean, I use long, these are like 30 inches long, so I'm not too worried about animals pulling them out. Doesn't happen too often. Get that worked in the ground real nice. So now, bait. Huge discussion on bait. Don't waste your time arguing over it. Coons will eat dang near anything. This is just dog food. I keep in this old Kool-Aid container, which works really good. When you don't need a huge container, and these, they're nice. They're about the right size. So I take some of that. I dump it in about halfway, a little higher than halfway. You don't need to fill right up to the top. That just wastes more time for the coon to get stuck. You're just stalling them there. So yeah, don't waste your time with the bait. You don't need to go buy expensive bait. You buy a 40-pound bag of $15 dog food, and that'll last you more than the season, unless you're setting hundreds of these. But people spend way too much money on dog-proof coon bait when the coons aren't even worth that much. So one thing I like to do, which I wouldn't need to, especially when I'm right here in this trail, but sometimes when I'm not right on the trail, or I don't have a trail as defined as this one, and they could be walking a few feet away, is I have a muskrat lure here that I use for almost all of my muskrat trapping. Use it for all my pocket sets, which I catch a lot of coon in. It's a muskrat food and call lure from Marceda's, I think it's Marceda's lures. Very good muskrat lure. Catch a lot of muskrats with this, and catch a lot of coons with it too. Even though it's not meant to be a coon lure, it works great for it. So I just take a little bit of that and I just put it right on the rim. That's just the scent. It's kind of a spearmint scent, or peppermint, spearmint, one of them. I would say spearmint probably. And I put it right on the rim. That'll just pull them in just a little bit more. I've been doing some studies, you know, different tests with this. I've put, I'll put 3 traps, 3 dog proofs in a row along a trail, or in a location, say a farm site or somewhere underneath a bridge, and then I'll put this lure on just the middle one. And not surprisingly, but more often than not, the first catch will be in the middle one. Sometimes if there's only one, I only catch one coon. A lot of times they're in the middle one. So the lure works great, but other than that, don't spend a lot. You know, this bottle will last me probably 50 some traps, and it's a $4 or $5 bottle of lure. So that works pretty good. So now there's nothing really else to do. We've got it set and staked. So bait's in there, you should be catching coon if you're in the right spot. One thing you don't want to be doing is putting these in the middle of nowhere. The coon, especially if you don't have a lure on there, are not going to be able to find these. So that's just always find the trails when you're using dog proof coon sets, and that's kind of makes sense for any trap, right? Always find where they're at. One thing else I wanted to mention, mice. They will eat the dog food out of there like crazy, especially in some areas where you got a lot more mice than others. Happens to me all the time. I'll either put just a cup, I like plastic cups or paper cups. Just set that over there. You don't need to press it on, just set it over there. The mice can't get it and steal your dog food out of there. And the coon will knock that off just fine, especially with the lure underneath there, and then you'll have good luck catching coon. So that's all I wanted to say. Keep it simple. These things should take less than a minute to put in. You slam them in and go. Other than that, set it very simply, stake it, bait, stake. It's not much else to it. Good luck. Hopefully this works for you. All right, just a close-up of the shot here. Trap on the trail. As you can see, you know, it's 3/4 full, half full. Right on the edge, right on the rim there, you can see where the lure is. Staked right just on the side of the trail, no big deal. And if you spill some, no big deal either. So that's what it's gonna look like. I was gonna show you too. Here's the Marceda's lure, muskrat food and call lure. That's what I'm using on the rim there. So hopefully this is helpful. Good luck on your trap line, and thanks for watching.